Surface area, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So this is something, again, that we learned probably back in 6th grade. We may have even started learning about it in 5th grade, but it's something that when we don't practice it, we tend to lose the skill on it. So I want to make sure that we're up to snuff and able to do this. This is going to be part of your homework assignments as well. You'll have a couple of problems to do, but I want to make sure that you guys are really confident in the 3 steps that it takes for us to be able to find the surface area of an object. So last lesson we talked about rectangular prisms. We have one right here. Okay, this one's kind of falling apart and you'll see why here in a second. All right, so a rectangular prism, it means that it has a base of a rectangle and this other side's a rectangle and it's all enclosed. Remember, I use this as like a fish tank. Okay, so what we need to do, there's 3 different steps to find our surface area of this. Is first we need to draw something called a net. And what that is that means that we're going to take our shape and we're going to undo the puzzle and we're going to lay it flat. Now, as you see, when I undo this puzzle, not only do I have one rectangle here and one here, then I also have this side, and then the top and the bottom, the 2 bases. We have all of it. So now, we all might not be the best artists. Trust me, I'm not one of them at all. And you'll find out here later in this video, trust me. What we're going to do is we're going to use the measurements that they give us or that we can find, and we're going to find the area of each one of these sections that make up this 3D object. Okay, so I'm going to find the area of this rectangle, this rectangle, this rectangle, this one, and this one, and then I'm going to add them all up together, and when they're all added up together, that's going to be our total surface area. Now, in order to find the area of this object, all we need is the formula for a rectangle, and that's just area equals base times length. Okay, we've got that. That's no big deal. We can do that. Now, when it comes down to a triangular prism, where we have our prism that has a triangle on each of the bases instead of a rectangle, when we unfold that and we make our net, we've got 2 triangles here on the side. So when we do this, we'll have to find the area of 1, 2, 3 rectangles. No big deal. Area equals base times length. And then we'll also have to find the area of these 2 triangles. So you're going to need to remember that the area of a triangle equals 1/2 the base times height. And the height of the triangle goes all the way from this straight down to the middle of that base, and it forms a right angle. So we're going to have to remember that the area equals 1/2 the base times height in order to find those. But the same thing, once you have your object like this and you take it apart and make it flat and draw the picture, you just have to find the area of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shapes, add them all up together, and you've got your surface area. Now, the last shape that we talked about yesterday was our rectangular pyramid. So again, it has the rectangle, it's a square on the bottom because a square is a rectangle, okay? And then when we take it all apart, it reminds me of one of those flower candles. We can see that we have 4 triangles and 1 rectangle. So we'll have to find the area of this 1 rectangle by multiplying the base times the length, and then we'll have to find the area of all 4 of these triangles, and that's going to be the base times the height. Typically, it's going to be given to us. We should be able to do it. But if it comes to a point where all we have is the height of the actual pyramid, like this, we know in the pictures that we saw in last unit with Pythagorean theorem that we can use the height of the pyramid as one side of our triangle, and we can use the base because that height is going to hit right here in the middle of this. So the distance from here straight down, that's going to be half of the base, and that can be our a squared plus b squared. And we can find c squared, which is going to be our height of this triangle. Our slant height is going to be our c squared there. So I'll show you a couple of different examples. That way we feel confident in what we're doing. But if your artistic abilities are not up to snuff, it's okay, because mine are not either. We just need to be able to see that we have 4 triangles, and as long as you can put the measurements where they need to be, you'll be good to go. So let's go through some examples. All right, so remember that the 2 really important formulas that we're going to need to know in order for us to successfully find the surface area of these shapes is we are going to need to know the area formula for both a rectangle and for a triangle. So let's remember for a rectangle or a square, our area is going to equal our base times our length. Now I write my L as a cursive L just so it doesn't look like a number 1 to me. So if you just write it as a normal L, that's fine. You're completely okay with it. That's great. I just don't want you guys to misinterpret what I'm trying to tell you. All right, and then we also need to know the area of a triangle. And our area of our triangle is going to be 1/2 of the base times height. Or you can do the base times height divided by 2. Either way, you get the same answer. The one thing that I do want to caution you to remember that the height of our triangle is right here in the middle, and it's going to form a right angle with the base, okay? So you need to remember that right there. All right, as long as you have these two formulas ready to go, we are going to be able to find the surface area of the shapes that we're talking about today. So let's move on and see where we're at. All right, remember we have a 3-step process here, okay? So we are going to start off by drawing our net. And our net is simply taking this shape right here and we're going to make it flat. We're going to unroll it, okay? So I'm going to start with my back rectangle right here. So it's going to be right here. This is the rectangle that I am going to start with, okay? So I'm going to draw it right here. Remember, I'm not an artist. Don't judge. All right, and I know that this height is 6, and I know that this number right here is 4. I like to draw those in as I'm going, so that way I don't forget where I'm going with it, okay? All right, so now I'm going to draw this side right here. It's another long rectangle, and it still has a length of 6 right there, and it still has a base of 4. I can see that right here. So 4 and 6. All right, now I'm going to draw this front one. I'm going to add it right here. It's just like we're unrolling it, okay? And again, this one is a 4 and a 6. And then this side one over here, I'm actually going to draw that to the left of where I first started. And this is a 4, and this is a 6. All right, so I have all of my long rectangles. Now I need to talk about the bases, and the bases are right here, this one, and this shape right here. They're squares. I know that because it says 4 and 4, and if they have the same size, or their sides are congruent, then we know that we're talking about a square. So I am going to go ahead and draw one of my squares up here, and I know that this is 4, and this is 4, and I'm going to draw my other base down here. And I know that this is 4, and this is 4. All right, so step number 1, drawn. Okay, this is the net. In all honesty, I feel like this is the hardest part sometimes just because we feel like it's difficult to draw it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to, let's see if I can scroll on it some. We are going to find the area of each one of these. Okay, so to find the area of a rectangle, I know that I am going to be using the base times length, right? So I'm going to take this 6 and this 4 right here, my first rectangle. 6 times 4 is 24. So I'm going to write 24, maybe. $24. All right, now again, I'm going to find the area of the next one. 6 times 4, I've got 24 again. And 6 times 4, 24. And again, 6 times 4 is 24. All right, so now I have all 4 of these done, but I still have the bases that I need to take care of. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 4 together, and that's going to give me 16. And then the bottom base is also going to give me 16. All right, step 3 is we are going to add everything together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break out my calculator right here, and I'll clear it, and I'm going to add all of these up. So I'm going to go straight across right here, and I'm going to do 24 plus 24 plus 24 plus 24 plus 16 plus 16 equals 128. And I can see right over here that we are talking about centimeters. And since I am finding area, I'm talking about centimeters squared. So I can say that the surface area, or we like to call it the SA, the surface area is 128. If I can get it to write. Centimeters squared. That is how we find our surface area right there of that rectangular prism. Yes, it's a lot of work, and especially when you have to draw out that net. This can be the most difficult part, but just make sure that you take the numbers that you know and try to work through them and label them as you go, because then it's going to help us keep clear in what we're doing. All right, let's move on to our next example.